Hey everybody, it's Edwin Hazard, Southeast Mobile Tech, Charleston, South Carolina. Hey, I am hooked up to this vehicle and I just want to do a quick basic video using a 5-gas analyzer. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to use the Snap On Zeus because you can put the software from the Snap On 5-gas onto the Zeus and it's a lot bigger display. Okay. This is the 5-gas that I'm going to be using. It's the Snap-on's handheld 5-gas analyzer. It's pretty cool tool. It's pretty lightweight, and it does a pretty good job, and it's easy to use. So when you go to use a 5-gas, first thing you got to do is you got to zero it out. Okay, you got to make sure that the probe end tip is clean. You got to make sure that the tool itself is like zeroed out, just like you would on a multimeter. Okay, and what you're going to see once everything's zeroed out, and you should have everything on your 5-gas should be showing zeros except for your oxygen. You know, right now we've got 20.87% oxygen. That's normal. Okay, that's what it should be. That's what we're breathing right now. The rest of them should be all zeroed out. The reason they're not right at the moment is because I zeroed them out, hooked up the probe, and then I didn't do anything for 5-10 minutes. So it's just kind of measuring the air, which is kind of scary. If I'm getting 16 parts per million in regular air without the probe being in the pipe, it makes you wonder what we're breathing, right? So, but along with that, this is gonna be monitoring hydrocarbons, carbon dioxides, NOx, carbon monoxides, oxygen, and lambda. Now the 3 gases that are harmful for you or to you is hydrocarbons, NOx, and carbon monoxide. Those are the 3 gases that are definitely gases you don't want to inhale. Carbon dioxide is not harmful unless it's in large quantities, and you don't want to do that either. Oxygen, that's what we breathe every day, and if you're alive, then I guess that gas is still pretty good, so that won't harm you. So what we're going to do is, this is a Chevy Colorado pickup truck, and there's not any drivability problems with this, and that's one of the things I want to emphasize, guys, is that when you guys do testing, whether it's a scan tool, a lab scope, a 5-gas, anything that you're testing, practice. Put it on a known good vehicle, because if you got a known good vehicle with no problems, you'll know what to look for. You'll know what to expect. Okay, if you're just going to put it on every time you get a bad vehicle, you're not going to know what known good is. So I always say, let's test on a new vehicle, or a vehicle that doesn't have a problem, and that way you can get kind of a baseline. I'm going to re-zero this 5-gas right now so I can get all my readings back to zero. Should take about 30 seconds. But this 5-gas analyzer, I can hook it up to the Zeus, or I think it's the Verus Pro, I think it is. I'm not sure, but there's another Verus tool. Even I think the Triton, you can be able to load the software for the 5-gas on that, and you can display it in a bigger screen here. It's the software is projected by Bluetooth, and it does a pretty good job. It's a lot easier to see. The screen on this 5-gas is small, but I'll tell you, if you're going to go on a road test, I mean, it works real good for that. You can just kind of like hang it from the dash, and you can see it pretty easily. But on the other hand, if you want to use the 5-gas along with your Zeus, which I'm going to show you today, you can split the screen. If you guys understand how to do that, I can put the software of the Zeus on the one side of the screen, you know, the data and stuff, and put the 5-gas software on the other side of the screen, so I can actually monitor the 5-gas and look at engine data on the other side of the screen. But I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to have 2 separate screens. I'm just going to minimize one at a time, but just to show you what I'm looking at and what we should be getting. Okay, so this is Notice how everything is zeroed out except our oxygen, which is the way it should be. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to insert the probe into the tailpipe, and I'm going to start the vehicle up. Okay, vehicle's running, it's at idle, and the vehicle is at operating temperature pretty much because it was driven not too long ago, about 15-20 minutes ago. So as you watch the 5-gas, okay, you'll start seeing things change. Notice my oxygen is starting to drop, but my carbon dioxide is starting to rise. Okay, hydrocarbons, that's starting to raise a little bit. I got 1.30 on the carbon monoxide, which right now is a little high because I just started it. Okay, so it has more fuel. Lambda, you know, lambda, perfect lambda is 1.0. We're at 0.996 to 1.0, which is pretty damn good. You're not going to get much better than that. Hydrocarbons, eventually it's going to get to a peak and then it's going to go back down. So we're looking at 1.04 oxygen content, which is pretty good. 13.8 or so carbon dioxide, which is, that's not bad. You know, it's, you're going to see anything from 13 to 15% on a hot idling engine. Okay, carbon monoxide, that's going to drop. Now, if the carbon monoxide stays high, you got a rich condition. Okay. So I have no diagnostic trouble codes right now. So what I want to do now is I'm going to minimize this screen, and I already got the short-term and long-term hooked up on the scan tool. Okay. Notice short-term is fluctuating, long-term is staying pretty easy. Now the long-term is starting to move a little bit. Okay, so you can do any kind of graphs that you want. I can put oxygen sensors up there if I really want to see how the exhaust stream is going. Let me see if I can do that, because I'd rather have oxygen than fuel trim at the moment. Let's see. Let me back out of this, back into fuel trim data. So I'm going to look for oxygen sensor. Unless it's not in this data, I might have to go to the next data. Oh, there it is. Bank 1, sensor 1. Let's do that. What did I do? Something about these touch screens, guys. You can, if you have fat and uncoordinated fingers like I do, it sometimes takes a couple times to get in just to get where you want to be. Okay, that one. Let's do bank 2. Bank 2 sensor 1. Now let's do the back O2s. Alright, this thing's got 112,000 miles on it, so you know, you look at the back O2s, you don't want it to mimic the fronts. So let's hope that these things start getting their act together. You can see this one here is bank 2 sensor 2. It's starting to level out a little bit. There we go. See now, bank 1 sensor 2 is kind of leveled out right there, and that's what you want to see. You want to see that. You don't want to see, you know, what you got going on the left here in the front O2s. If you have something like that, you might have a problem with your cats. Okay, if those rear O2s are mimicking the fronts, then you're more than likely going to have a P0420, P0430 code. So I like what this Bank 1 Sensor 2 is doing. I'm not always really crazy about the Bank 2 Sensor 2. My front O2s, they look pretty good. This is at idle, guys, but they look like they're fluctuating like they should. So let's minimize this one. And let's go back into the 5-gas. Okay, we're looking at 1.005 lambda. Okay, that's just a touch higher than 1.0. I like to see more like 1.0. Carbon dioxide is about right where you want it. Oxygen 0.20, that's right in spec. Carbon monoxide 0.6, that's perfect. That tells me this thing is not running rich or anything like that. Hydrocarbons is pretty low. That's not bad. When you start getting up into you know, the 2 to 200 and above, and then you start having, you know, some drivability, maybe misfire issues, cylinders that aren't firing like they should. But this is pretty decent. So let me give it some RPMs here, and first I'll give it a quick acceleration, and we'll look at this reaction for the 5-gas. Let's see what we got here. Now remember, guys, when the exhaust gases, it does take a little bit of time to go from the engine out to the tailpipe. Well, look at my NOx sensor, how it went way up. My NOx sensor, my NOx reading. I'm thinking I'm working on a diesel. Hydrocarbons, that's the acceleration, guys, that I just gave it. Okay, it's now reaching the tailpipe. It's not instantaneously with 5-gas. Okay, it takes a couple seconds to get a good reading. Now notice it's dropping back down again. So is my NOx. I'm going to do that again, and I want to look at this carbon monoxide right here. I want to see if that reacts to my acceleration. Right now it's probably just exiting the front pipe, and it's traveling down through the converter. Eventually it's going to get to the tailpipe. Hydrocarbon starting to rise. Carbon monoxide's rising just a little bit. Nothing major. That was only one acceleration. It wasn't, the first one I did was 2 accelerations, so. Lambda's hovering around 1.004. That's acceptable. I'm not upset with that. So let's minimize this one, go back to our oxygen sensors. Now we got both rear O2s seem to be happy now. See, you guys got the straight line going here. That's good. You got an even waveform. For the front O2s, we're between 0.4 and 0.8, 0.3 and 0.81. So they're pretty much the same. Now the question is, why did it take Bank 1 Sensor 2 longer to smooth out than the first one? My guess is maybe the sensor's starting to get tired. Maybe it's getting old. You know, 112,000 miles, it's not as responsive as a new sensor. Now the fact of the matter is that it did smooth out, so it's okay for now. However, if it didn't smooth out, I'd be setting a code. Okay? After a while, the computer would say, nope, I ain't happy. So basically, if I had a drivability problem, not only would I see it here in my oxygen sensor readings, whether it be, you know, rich or whether it be lean, but I would also see it in the 5-gas. Okay? If you have multiple tools to do diagnostics, okay, that just helps you do your job easier. Now, a lot of guys are saying, well, I'm not going to get a 5-gas because I don't do emissions. Well, I'll tell you what, those days are over. I don't do emissions either. But I'll tell you what, you stick a 5-gas on a vehicle, and especially older vehicles, you know, that don't have real good computer control or no computer control. You want to see how that vehicle's running, you stick a 5-gas on it. Okay? If you understand how hydrocarbons and NOx and carbon monoxide and how everything works, if you understand and how they work and what the specs of them that they should be, you can diagnose a car in your bay without even plugging a scan tool into it. Okay? Obviously, it's going to get you down to the point where, okay, I know it's running rich. Let me take a look at, you know, my fuel system, or maybe I got a sensor or something like that that's out of whack. But if you don't have a scan tool, how would you do it? Well, if you don't have a computer, you don't have to worry about the sensor part. But let's say you got an old carbureted. Guys remember carburetors, right? That's like back in the 1800s. But no, if you just have a vehicle that's all carbureted and stuff, put a 5-gas on it. You know, you're not going to have a converter on it more than likely, but you can definitely look at the hydrocarbons, the carbon monoxides, your oxygen, your CO2. Okay, you won't get NOx and you won't get lambda, but hey, it'll give you a direction of where you need to go. Okay. So this is just a quick video of using a 5-gas analyzer, you know, and coupled with a scan tool. A lot of times what I like to do is I like to put the 5-gas on a bigger monitor and then use the scan tool to watch the data, so I don't have to switch screens back and forth. Like I said, I have done it where I've split the screen. I put the 5-gas software on the left and the scan tool software on the right, and that seems to be okay, but it's just, you're looking at it, it's all small, and if you get to be my age and old, it's hard to see things when they're small. So anyways, that's what I got here. Wanted to just show you, just get an idea. I'm going to be doing more diagnostics with the 5-gas, you know, for different scenarios, different type of vehicles. I know I have a friend of mine's got a Honda Civic, and his sister has the exact same car but with more miles. His Civic doesn't have that many miles and her Civic does, so what I want to do is hook the 5-gas up to it just to see the difference between a high mileage car and a lower mileage car, and see how responsive the cats are and how the engine's actually running. I think one has 110,000 on it and the other one's got like 250,000, so it'll be interesting. So once I get everybody lined up and I can get with these cars, then I'll definitely, you know, shoot a video and we'll do a comparison on how a 5-gas works. I guess that's it. So if you guys have any questions, just hit me up on the YouTube channel, send me an email, automotivetech@gmail.com, and I will be happy to respond to any questions that you have. And I thank everybody for taking the time to watch this video. Like I said, it's not a really in-depth video, but that stuff's coming. Alright, so from Charleston, South Carolina, I'm Edwin Hazard from Southeast Mobile Tech. You guys have a great day.